All right. Well, what we're doing is we're repackaging the old summer special police officer program. Now it's going to be what's called community service officers. And it's more than just putting a different uniform on them. It's changing their duties. Their duties are going to be more akin to being an ambassador for the town versus a police officer. They will not have any enforcement power, sworn police power. They'll still have enforcement power when it comes to parking tickets, bylaw, non-criminal bylaw violations, beach infractions, things like that, because they'll still be out on patrol downtown, on bikes, in the mid-island area, on the bike paths, and on the beaches. But they'll have a more of a, we're going to train them to be more community-oriented, more public service-oriented rather than enforcement.
What's the reason behind this?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. One is just, quite frankly, the job of a police officer is becoming much, much more complex than it was in the past. And the duties and the responsibilities of having the power to arrest people, it takes more than just 2 weeks of training to be able to, give them the skills they need to professionally and effectively enforce. So we've come to the realization that we just can't do that anymore. Many communities across the Commonwealth that use special police officers, they require that they be at least at a minimum reserve officer trained before that they put them out. And they in fact provide them that training, even on the vineyard. But that would require us to provide 8 weeks of training to a group of people who are going to be here for 15 weeks.
Right.
And financially it just doesn't make sense. Economically or logistically it'd be very difficult. So we're looking at a different model, and this is not something we invented. This is used, quite frankly, on college campuses and communities, especially in the upper Midwest and down in the South a lot, where they have a lot of vacation communities or a high number of students in college campuses and urban areas, and it's very successful.
So what kind of training would these folks need?
Well, they're still going to get some basic enforcement training, for instance, how to write tickets, how to recognize violations. Then they're going to get training on how to recognize emerging problems so that they can be the eyes and ears for the police department, who they would then get on their radios, contact the dispatcher, say, we need a police officer up here to deal with this problem. Mm-hmm. And then they'll also get training with the assistance of the visitor center on just the finer points of Nantucket, how to effectively give directions. How do you find out what's going on a daily basis around here so that you can inform visitors when they ask you, rather than just walk around like you're a cop looking for trouble or something, So,
mm-hmm. Would that training take place here?
It will take place here.
And will we get a lot of the candidates possibly from Nantucket?
Well, we're hoping.
Yeah.
What we think is, before the model kind of screamed to have 21, 22-year-old criminal justice candidates from the colleges who had a future career aspiration to be a police officer. That's who we primarily focused on recruiting. What we're hoping now is that we can get many of maybe even a lot of the residents here who are either unemployed or underemployed, who may be interested in doing this type of work, because like I said, the job's going to be still some enforcement, but it's going to be more, hey, this is about Nantucket. It's a great place to visit.
Right. That's a terrific. I think it's a great idea. And what about the ages of these candidates?
They can be from 18 to 88, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yep.
Well, that's great. And will we save money by doing this?
Not really.
Okay.
The summer part-time employees, or what we call them, or the seasonal employees, get that salary set by the Board of Selectmen, and it applies, the same level applies whether they're working the beach, whether they're working a police officer, whether th're working a dock worker or wherever. So we've always paid them relatively a lot less than we pay a full-time police officer. We're going to hire fewer of them.
We are.
But there's going to be some offset savings there. We're going to hire 25% less, so we'll hire approximately 30 rather than 40, and there'll be some salary savings there. But there's going to be some increased expenses on the police side, because this quite frankly is going to put a higher burden on the sworn police officers.
Oh, I see.
Because they're going to have to answer calls now that we were able to have special officers do in the past. Mm-hmm. We're also going to have to augment. We're starting kind of the transition to when the police station actually goes to two fairgrounds. and we're going to actually have a full-time officer down here on Broad Street.
So this here?
Well, they'll be down patrolling the
This will
streets.
still be here. This building.
The building will be here, yeah.
When is that place going to be done?
We anticipate a move in September of 2010.
Okay, great.
Give or take some weeks or months, who knows? But that's our goal.
Now, what about the outfits?
Outfits have changed. It's still a design in progress.
It is.
Yeah.
We don't know what color yet for sure.
Well,
or?
we had a model put together that we did internally. That was kind of a brownish and greenish.
No Nantucket Reds?
No Nantucket Reds at this point, yeah. What we've asked to do, one of the local newspapers, the Enquirer-Mirror, has asked to get involved in the potential for redesigning, the uniform, and we've accepted their offer.
Oh,
and they're going to solicit some information that they can get. I mean, we have a limited palette of uniform possibilities. I think there's about 12 different colors that you can get, and you can mix and match, but from the uniform suppliers. But we're going to get information from them. But what it won't say, there won't be anything on their uniform that somebody will mistake for them being a police officer.
Right, okay.
They'll clearly be a representative of the town who's down here to provide a service.
And what about the rest of the cops you got here? How do they view this? How are they reacting
Well,
to it?
like all of us, we're a little skeptical. I mean, not skeptical, I guess is a bad word. We're a little nervous because A, it's going to place a bigger burden on the full-time force.
Right.
B, it's an unknown. Right now
These are civilians. These are not
civilians.
even people who want to be police officers.
That's correct. And police officers, we had a very strong control over the summer specials. I mean, they were literally marched to our steps, so to speak.
Right, exactly.
And with this now, community service officers, there's probably going to be somewhat of a relaxation on that standard, quite frankly, and that's how we're going to get, how we're encouraging a lot of people who, love Nantucket and live here to get involved, to be as service oriented. So, I think the police officers in many cases are going to find that they're on their own, so to speak, versus when we had the group of them before. So we're a little trepid, but you know what? The challenges that we faced with them in the old model were just getting too much and it weren't worth it.
Right.
And so now it's time to try something new. And if this doesn't work out, we'll find some other alteration of it. But we're definitely going to look that way forward rather than look behind us.
They might even encourage more people to get involved in the community aspects of serving.
I absolutely think it will.
Not just with the police, but in other aspects.
Yep,
So
I absolutely think it will. I think you're going to be surprised at the people who may be interested in participating in this program, and it's going to be one of the other things I'm talking about the officers. Why there's no real cost savings is the beaches are going to be staffed by full-time police officers at night. Rather than the special officers. So there'll be community service officers out there in the daytime, much like the park rangers on Code 2. They'll have the same focus, the same goals, but after dark, there'll be full-time uniformed police officers that are on the ATVs. They'll be out there, and so a lot of the money that we're saving from hiring fewer will actually be going to fill in slots from the officers who are out there.